Hi, and welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I'm your co-host, Michelle, and today I have with me JP Adkins, one of my favorite people who is here with us today. I cannot wait for this podcast today. I am going to set an intention quick, and then we're going to drop right in and roll with it and see where we go. And let me just tell you, when JP and I are together, you never know where we're going to go. So first, welcome, JP. I can start with a welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I am so excited to be here, Michelle. You know, you are literally someone that changed my life. So, I can't wait.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same way. Okay, so intention. Let me see. I'm just going to kind of put my hands at my heart and close my eyes and just take a deep breath because it is Monday when we're recording, and oh, it's a great way to start a week. I cannot think of a better way. So my intention for today is to drop in, be real, be connected, and I think an additional layer to this intention is to in the unraveling and unrolling of our conversation to inspire or to maybe just like create a light bulb moment for someone listening, because it just feels like when Jeff and I connect, things like that happen. So I'm open to opportunities for learning, for new found wisdom, and for deep connection and realness. I'm going to say realness. So anything you want to add?
That's lovely. No, like I just want somebody to hear this today and just have that switch flip that I'm going to live the life I want to live.
Yeah, I love that. Live the life you love is what I say often. And another one of my key phrases is own your life, meaning like we were just talking about this before we hit record is like, I'm not hiding anymore. It's like, I was like, if I would have looked back 20 years ago and saw that I would be doing what I'm doing today, I would have been like, yeah, that's bullshit. That's not ever going to happen. And then, but it's like, but I was hiding like what has been buried, and now it's revealed and uncovered and continues to do so. And I know you and I've had conversations about this. It's incredible.
Oh, oh hell yeah.
Also,
Uh,
happy Pride Month.
Thank you. It is Pride Month. Yay. I don't
Yay.
everything's in move mode. I do have a flag that is little here from last Pride. And I'm
Nice.
like, and normally it's sitting here, it's a little one. Like I can wave it real quick. It's not right there.
I see it. I see it right here in my third eye.
It's right there, right? I got it.
Yeah.
Just imagine that I
It's
am,
received. It's
you
received.
know, and I'm my rainbow unicorn too. Okay, this
Yeah.
just let's put that out there. Um, I am. If you would have told me in Nashville, okay, which was only 2 months ago, Michelle and I got to see each other in Nashville at this amazing event, and if you would have told me then, even that this is where I would be today, I would have said, "You're on crack. You're on crack."
Tell me more about that.
So Michelle and I connected really, really well. I mean, we connected before Nashville, but in Nashville, we definitely connected. We hung out. We had a great time. It was amazing. Michelle, if you get a chance to hang out with Michelle at any time in the world, like anywhere, anytime, drop what you're doing and go hang out with Michelle. She's amazing. Okay. And we were joking, and I said something because I was having a vulnerable moment, and I said something, and her guides told her, "Well, you got to weave this all. You have to weave the masculine and the feminine together." And I see it braided and just beautiful, and the energy coming from it. And of course, that triggers some of the stuff that I've been studying, like in the background, like
Yeah.
quietly talking and like studying and like and knowing but not knowing and like this whole thing and with the whole idea around tantra. And I also, at the same time, was talking to one of my best friends about our new podcast that we decided to name Spiritual Sex and Candy. And everything that kept coming up for that is tantric related. Like, let's face it, when you're talking spiritual and sex, tantra comes up. Not that that's what it is, but that's what is the mainstream part of that. So it just maybe redouble my efforts and look at what that looks like to be certified, and like what does it look like for the practice, like really practice. And so I started this whole thing and got certified in Tantra. Used the stuff that I had and knew, and moved it forward pretty quickly, and now am on this whole um, journey to really connect and align. That is insane. That had me doing yoga this morning. Which, if you again, if you would have told me that in Nashville, I would have said, maybe I'll do yoga with you like once, just to try it, and because I know that I should move more. I should move more, right? Now I'm basically leading a course.
Isn't it amazing how quickly things can unfold and happen when it's like divinely guided and it's time? Like it's divine timing, it's divine guidance, it's we're open, we're ready, and there's like a willing to be vulnerable. You use the word vulnerable, right? That somehow it doesn't necessarily like dissolve the fear, but it sort of makes the fear like just get out of the way. You're like, you're not going to let it, and then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, that was only 2 months ago. And like, I hadn't connected those dots that,
Yeah,
that all of the things that we've been talking about and the things that you're getting certified in and now offering out into the world and putting out into the ethers and into the
yeah,
actual like tangible, universe is it's only been 2 months.
yeah. It's
Well,
Nashville. I came back. It might be 3 at this point.
yeah, it
I
might be
came back to
3.
Nashville that week. Literally, I started the courses. Um, because that's just kind of how it happened. I think I started. We got home on Tuesday. By Friday, I was actually in a course. Um, I finished the first course. Again, I've been studying this for years, guys. This is not like I just all of a sudden, it was kind of like flipping the switch. I'm going to go in like and and flipping the switch keeps coming up today. I
Yeah.
don't know why that phrase is like right there on my head, right? But it was like, okay, what does this actually look like? Because I didn't really look. I've been studying. I've had people. I have people I've studied with, and then it was like, okay, I could do that. Wait a second, I could do that. I could probably do that like in a week or two. Like actually do the coursework. Now I have 8 months worth of asanas to go through, and I'm learning kriyas from the beginning because I didn't learn. That's the yoga course I'm kind of leading at this point because um, I found a really great course, but he talks through the whole thing. So he's not really he like shows a posture, a asana, and then says, and then he talks about it and what it does and all the good things, but he doesn't do a flow with the whole
Mm,
thing. And he started from the beginning. And what I love about it is that he started from the beginning.
mm,
Like we're doing Kriya 1, I'm doing ankle rolls for God's sakes. It's beautiful, and it's really getting me into a space where I can feel confident. So I'm 2 weeks into that now, into that whole the beginning of the Kriyas, because I realized I got to a place. This is actually a really funny story. I know I feel like I'm rambling, but
now you're good.
um, the funny story about that is I went to do something that I thought was going to be okay and easy to
Oh, that's
do.
funny. That's
Right,
funny. I say
right.
that's funny because we all do that.
So I went to do this pose, and basically what you do is you're laying back on your back and you put your feet up. That's really what the pose is. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, and then you actually get to prop it. You don't even have to hold it there.
Yeah.
You prop it, and you only have to stay there for like 3 minutes. And there's this whole energy thing that goes along with that, and it's beautiful and it's lovely. And that's the whole purpose of it, is that it's part of the energy side of things, because I studied the energy side and not necessarily the body side of it.
Mm.
And I went to get in that posture, and my body said, "Are you on crack?
Uh,
Like, what the hell are you trying to do? Why are you doing this to me? what you think you could actually lift your legs that high? And then I realized, number one, the doctor thing, make sure that you're um make sure that you speak to your doctor and make sure that you're medically ready to have sex comes in. Um, because this is a very sexual posture, let's face it. And so I started laughing at myself and I'm like, I need to start from scratch. I need to go all the way through the Koreas. Let's look. Where do I find it? So I found a course, you know, and I found a really great course. If you guys want it, let me know. I will get it to you. It's someone else's course. I'm not, affiliated, but it really does a really good job at starting at lesson one from the books.
You took these trainings, but you have already been practicing this stuff. It's not like you just dropped in and are starting at ground zero with your trainings. However, I love that you've been doing this, and within your trainings you're willing to be a new student again. You're willing to go back to the beginning and really strengthen and solidify that foundation so that as you move forward, because I think there's something really powerful but also really important about when you're, it's one thing when it's your practice and you're the one listening to your body and you've been in your body your whole life and you can, you know, your body well. It's a whole nother thing when you're going to offer it out into the world and bring it to students. You really do have to have a really strong, solid foundation and understand what it is that you're teaching so that you can meet people where they're at, because their body isn't your body, and what they need energetically isn't what you need energetically, and what they can and you know would be beneficial for them to do physically isn't the same as yours, and sometimes what you can do physically isn't necessarily beneficial. So I love that you're really talking about building a foundation that is mindful, that is ethical, that is, you know, intentional, and that, you know, don't be afraid to start again and to be a beginner again, even if it's something you've been doing for a really long time. That's like one of my favorite. I'm a lifelong student and I will forever start again and again and again and again. And I love that, but I think some people see that as like a step backwards, and I absolutely do not. So everything that you're saying is like, yes, this is a great point to bring everything together, you know, about you can have a practice and still be a brand new student within that.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like I would never say that I teach yoga. I would
Mhm.
never, like the fact that I'm kind of leading this because of the way that the course works. Like I'm leading somebody because me and a friend are doing it together because we both kind of laughed at the whole thing. Um, and thank God because that's keeping me in accountability. That accountability is
Mhm.
keeping me on the mat. Honestly, if I
Yeah.
didn't have her working with me, and it's an important part of what I talk about in my coaching program. Who's holding you accountable?
Yeah.
What is that accountability? And there's three different layers of it, right? That's the accountability to me, right? And the accountability to me is that I'm technically certified to teach this and I don't know it. And
Mhm.
therefore I have an integral issue with it. You know what I mean? Like I should know at least be able to get through. You know, if you're a music teacher, you have to be able to play all the instruments, not necessarily well, but you need to know kind of what's going on, right?
Yeah, there's
And
a
that's kind of
very
like,
go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead. No.
Well, I just there's a very big difference between a teacher who's read a book and tries to teach something and a teacher who's living it and then
Mhm.
teaches it. Like that they're just two different things. And for
Oh yeah.
me, it feels I feel much safer and more aligned when it's somebody, well, I can see that they're living it. I don't know. It's like I can read it from the book myself. I need somebody who can say, you know, this was a surprising little side note of what the you know, and then they get it. Or if I have a surprising little side note, it might not be their exact experience, but they can understand, you know, how that might look because they're living it and they've seen it a million different ways, a million different times. I think that's so important. I love that you brought that in.
Yeah. The fact, so number one, again, if you would have told Michelle and I having this conversation, 3 months out of Nashville, like if you would have told me that we're going to have a whole conversation that I really don't talk about it. We're talking completely about energy and this work. In my practice in the past, I have a worksheet for everything.
Hmm.
Like literally, I have exercises, I have worksheets. They are all on purpose, and I know I'm starting to feel the purpose of some of the things that I do now energetically as I'm going through this whole the awakening stuff, the asanas that I'm working on. There's a there's a whole thing, and I know that I'm messing up the word because there's a word that's like right here. I'm like,
It's in the file
this is the
somewhere.
word I'm looking for. It's right here,
Yeah.
but it's not coming out. But for this practice that I'm on, this 8 months, going through all the different chakras.
Mm.
So it started in month one of third opening the third eye. And now it's in root chakra. And what I can tell you ever talk about surprising things that happen when you do this? My libido went crazy.
Mm.
Like absolutely off the charts insane. And it has because of what I've worked on to open
Mm.
is very raw on both sides of it, right? So there's no control in that either. So that's been the challenge is the controlling that um powerful root chakra open, the
I'm
full
like,
throttle chakra.
as you're talking, I'm like, are you sure you went all the way to the root, or did you get stuck in the second and forget to get all the way down there? You
No,
know what I
no,
mean?
no. So the root chakra has the prostate in it, and the sacral chakra controls the organs. Okay, so the problem with especially with guys is that that's actually where your pleasure center is. So everyone talks about it being at the root of your spine. This is kind of one of the funny things. And when I heard it differently, it's like,
Mm.
oh yeah, that's where it is, and that's why how it works, and it makes all perfect sense of why everything's going on. It's at the root of your spine, but you know what's at the root of your spine? Your taint. And when you start to get it there, it everything else starts making sense when they talk about the stuff they're talking about. Um, we're part of this set of opening exercises has us doing some root locks. So basically, you can equate them to Kegels, come from that. Um, and it's a very interesting practice. And again, like I said, that has been one of the interesting things that's been there is like, okay, I have this open center that has what the things that normally control that, the next two are not open. So how do you deal with that as a what is your real desires? What is it that real thing? And just noticing, okay, this is what's open. This is what came up. That safety security thing, being secure and rooted. I on my way here, part of my roof fell off.
Oh, wow.
So because I was out at home and I came back to the city for my niece's graduation, and on the way somewhere, part of my roof fell off.
Of your mobile.
I live in a motorhome. Oh, that's
Okay.
right.
I was
I
like,
forgot
we
about that.
maybe should clarify that.
Clarify that. So I live in a motorhome. I travel. So and I've been having a lot of there's been a lot of challenges and a lot of roadblocks for me leaving. Is
Yeah.
what comes down to. And this time I'm just like, okay, well, so what do we got to do to fix it? And and all this stuff happened, and I figured out how to do it, and like I learned something new. I learned how to do fiberglass. Like I can go and build a boat now. Like okay. Um, but I didn't panic. I didn't get into a space. I felt very safe. I felt very secure of what's going on, where everything is at, and that has not always been the case.
Yeah. So we're talking about studies a lot today and kind of how we navigate that, right? Like that's like, and as you were talking about this particular, like how it affected you and how you related to the trainings, I'm just curious, like when you drop into studies that are going to take you, to those vulnerable places, like those unhealed places, say, because that's kind of what I got from what you were saying there is there was some raw stuff, some things that maybe
Oh
made you
yeah.
feel uncomfortable and things that you were noticing. Do you find, because you also talked a lot about structure, and
Mhm.
I'm actually connecting some dots with myself too, as like sometimes when I am aware that I'm in a training or something that I know is going to unlock some things or it has the potential to, I find that I get more rigid in my structure and I forget to play. I forget to just surrender and be open and be like, okay, I know I have this spreadsheet or this list or this like steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I find that, and I feel I'm gonna have to pay attention to this, but as we're talking, like the download for me is the closer I get to that opening or that reveal, the more rigid I get in my structure. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm on step 4. I have to finish step 4 before I go to 7. But what I really need is to play with steps 5, 6, and 7. 4 doesn't matter for me right now, but I'm so rigid in the structure because I want to feel safe in that container that I will not go off and just play. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of layers to that for me for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering because you talked about those spreadsheets, and I'm wondering if you feel like that might be part of it for you too, where it's like the structure makes me feel safe. And so I'm going to lean 100% into that. But then there's something about leaning into that at some point for me, there's like this little blip of, I'm going to play. This is too heavy. I need to play. And then when that happens, it's like, that's when the open happens. And then I'm like a puddle on the floor because I revealed something that just needed to be processed. But then I get to look at it and I get to honor it and give it attention. Do you think that's part of the structure for you?
Yeah, I think that because of now most people that are going through the training that I'm going through actually go to the ashram and
Mm,
so they remove themselves from society, they do the whole thing, they come back 9 months from now. And I'm not doing that. I can't do that at the moment. Or I'm choosing not to. It's not that I can't. I can do anything,
nice.
but
I like it.
I'm choosing I'm choosing not to. And so part of it of that structure is I know in the first set of stuff I did to open up and deal with energy, the energy side of it, um, it didn't have it opened everything up and like kind of just left it open, right? And it was a much shorter process, a much different process. It was like kind of the process I should have done after this process. I did out of order. Um, and so I had spent 3 days where it felt like I was on acid,
Mm. Yeah, that
where
actually makes me feel like I need to say, like, I'm not saying forget a structure. Structures are there
yeah,
for a purpose, but the ones that we create for ourselves, those are the ones I'm talking about, where sometimes we get too rigid within those. Sometimes they're
yeah.
necessary, but sometimes we get a little rigid in that.
And so for me, what I came down to in this, because as you know, this is not my comfort zone.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a structure person. I am a structure person. I do productivity. Like that's a big part of my coaching program is being more productive, being more intentional. So for me to go and start doing the energy side of that, which I have for a while, it's not new. It's not like I'm sitting here going, "Oh, I'm just gonna wake up one day and here I am." Um, but really seriously getting into the practice of it and really seriously opening up the different centers. There's a reason why they have this order in this one, and and afraid is the wrong word, but I saw what it was like when it was just all open,
Yeah.
like open them all, and I there is a lesson to be learned from each energy center.
Oh, for sure. Many lessons.
Yeah, great. And I'm uncovering, and so what I've been finding is that I'm uncovering that section, and I'm because it's so focused on that center
Yeah.
that it allows you to really understand that center.
Mhm.
I was getting tons of insight and tons of connection when I was working in third eye. Like
Oh
I
gosh, yeah.
really got it really comfortable in myself. I was really working on that whole thing. And the reason why we open that up first is so that you can kind of control, you have that base root of who you are and your connection to your higher, right? So, and can understand that you might have some visions. You might understand that you can, which I'm used to, but you understand that your body is like the center and you can start feeling energy. And then feel the dichotomy between the two, right? So, from your boost, the root of you to the root of your spirit, because
Mhm.
that's really what your third eye is the root of your spirit. So, having that connection and really opening it up and like feeling it, okay, this is it. Now, have I thought this week that maybe, just maybe, I should start working in the on the second chakra to kind of start controlling this a little bit more? I said yes. And I said, well, there's a reason why it's open like this
Mm,
because there's something I'm learning here.
yeah.
I need to feel what's going on here. And then I can focus here. And that this will control that. I know this controls that. Again, I've done this is not my first study.
Right.
It's
And
just
I
the
think
first.
it's important to note, like having that discernment, it's really important to know where your skill sets are. What kind of guide do I need? Because I never recommend doing it alone, right? I mean, I think there's work we have to do alone, but we also need a guide and community to hold space and to make sure that checks and balances, because we're really good at tricking ourselves. So it's like there's that, have a guide, have a teacher, have a mentor, have a great community, and then like know your connection to your intuition and your highest self, and know that how your discernment works within that, and then move as you're called. But that's also a skill set that requires developing. Like you're building muscles here, spiritual muscles, energetic muscles, physical muscles, all the muscles, and it's an interesting journey.
Thank you. Yeah. And, if I didn't have that structure in place before,
Yeah.
like, I got to know me really well.
Yeah.
And before I even started this whole set, like, let's, and being very comfortable in the energetic side of this, like I said, it's still, I knew this was going to be a conversation for this, but it still amazes me that this is the conversation we're having.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like I knew this was going to be the conversation, and it's still like this really is the conversation.
Isn't it
Um,
cool though? Like I love that
it
I'm
is.
still in awe and wonder of all the things that how I show up, and the things that the tools that have, I was gonna say I found, it's not that way, that found me, that were dropped in front of me and I chose to accept, right? Um I just love that I'm still in awe and wonder. And I heard that exact same thing in your voice right now. I'm like, you're still in awe and wonder. And I hope I'm always that way. If I'm not, something's wrong and I'm not aligned anymore. Do you feel that
Yeah,
way? Like,
truly, truly. Like when you start to take, that's all the true awesome life is.
mhm,
Like really, it's about going into your life with awe and wonder every day,
yeah,
all the way around. Like
yeah.
you're physically, you're today we were doing the ankle rolls, and I'm like, I am so grateful my ankles move like this.
Mm.
My ankles are actually what this is the easiest thing that I do in that whole routine, right? Is the ankle rolls. Everything else, there's some tension, there's some stuff, there's some things here and there. Um, but the ankle rolls are pretty easy, as they should be. Like it literally is Korea number one is this, and I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's ankle rolls. You're rolling your ankle. And I'm just like, I'm so thankful I can do this. I'm so thankful that this is working. So thankful. And everything I did, I'm like, I'm so thankful that I'm getting looser here. And like really brought that gratitude into my body today. And I was out, I do my yoga outside. There's not enough room in here. So I got to really feel everything. And the sun started shining while I was out there. And like the
Mm.
clouds parted for a few minutes. And I'm like, this is bad for my head. I should have wore a hat. And then, and then, but just being aware and conscious of the life that you're living. Everyone talks about flow.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be in flow. But the problem with flow is that if you're in the wrong river, you end up in the wrong place.
Yeah. Well, and that depends on your definition of flow, right? Like, are you truly in flow if you're in the wrong river? You know what I mean?
Um, yes, you could be. So a lot of people do this, and you hear this all the time. So they got a job, okay, that they absolutely hate, but it pays the bills, and they're beholden, they feel, because it pays the bills, and they have a life and they're kind of living it, but they're not really looking at what really makes them happy. So they go
Mhm.
home and they watch TV or they doom scroll. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of the things I'm saying right now, right? So please don't hear this as a wrong because sometimes this is what you have to do in life. But when you start realizing that you kind of fell into this is the default life that you kind of fell into,
Mm.
right? And you might go out once a month because you should go out, you know, and you really haven't examined what really makes how you can make your life fun, how you can make your life enjoyable, how you can really make yourself feel alive. So you're just living.
Mhm.
And it doesn't necessarily take a big, huge life change. It could be literally just noticing, hey, I didn't go to the lake as an adult.
Mm.
I'm in Michigan. There are lakes everywhere. And I'm 30 something years old at the time ish. I might be 40. 30 something because I'm not going to admit to being 40 yet. Um, so, but I'm 30 something years old and I haven't, as an adult, haven't been to the lake. And I like the lake. So why not?
Yeah.
I'm 30, I'm 30 something years old and have been wanting to go to New Orleans since I was 10. Why hadn't I gone? What did it really take? How much would it really cost? And how much is it really costing me not living that life? I was a workaholic. I worked 2 jobs. I was working 80, 90 hours a week. I refuse now. I can't go back there. The thought of that, like, makes my whole body, like, wanna throw up. And I enjoyed my job. I enjoyed most of my work. I
Yeah.
was good. So, that's the problem, and you get those little dopamine hits, and you get the little happiness things because, you might be good and you're always there's always a carrot they're dangling,
Yeah.
always a carrot somewhere. And when you start looking at your life and what does it take to make you what would make you really happy?
I think so many people don't know the answer to that question. I never used
Mhm.
to. Some days I still don't. Like what would bring me joy today? Meh, no idea. I'm just in a funk. You know what I mean? And then other days it's like, oh, I know all the things that are going to make me happy today.
Huh? Oh,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect by any freaking means. And, I spent almost, it's been 2.5 years now, almost 3 years since I was actually on the road and had issue after issue after issue and thwarted intention. And it was supposed to be done. This was supposed to be done. That was supposed to be done. Even Nashville, I was at the mechanics day before I was supposed to leave for Nashville and spent $1,000 getting all kinds of new stuff done. And come to find out, there was one more part that was bad that was going to cost me $1,000 to fix.
Mm.
So I ended up flying to Nashville instead. So, and dealing with that whole mess for another month. And now there's something else. Now the roof fell off,
Right.
but that's fixed. You know what I
Nice.
mean? So, and it's been
Yeah.
like this the whole time. It's like this happened and this happened and this happened. And when I go on the road, literally this this RV is replaced. Like
Yeah.
mechanically, pretty much everything is new. I
Yeah.
have new tires, new everything. There's only a couple more things could, that I could possibly need ever. Um, but all those are pretty good at this point.
Yeah.
So you have to, and in those moments, sometimes I've been not necessarily looking at how my life is great and beautiful and wonderful. And one of the great things about the root chakra being open is that I have that real deep sense of safety and connection
Mm.
and rootedness that um even though X is happening, I am okay.
Yeah. Well, that's as you were talking about, it was kind of like, life coming at you, basically, right? You were telling like life coming at you. It's like, what does that look like? Two parts, right? Like what brings you joy? What makes you happy? Do you know the answer to those questions? Because I think that's really important. If you don't, just start looking, playing, exploring. And then part two, when life comes at you, How do you navigate that? Where do you go from there? What steps do you take? What is your perspective? Like, because my perspective used to be just be like, why does this always happen to me? Blah, blah, blah. I kind of went into that victimhood mindset for a long time. That was back in my angry days. I was just mad at life and mad at everything. But then over time, as I do more work and reveal and uncover more and more things and heal wounds, and, I don't have to like every single bit of life, but I damn sure can have a perspective and find the bits that I do like. And if when those outweigh, the victimhood perspective, I'm going to just say it that way. Life is so much better when you own it and just are like, yeah, that stuff's going to happen. And you know what? Here's the thing. I'm good. I can ride this wave. I'm going to be all right. And I have great surroundings and people and community and guides and mentors and friends and, people I love and care for and that do the same reciprocally,
Mhm.
with me. Well, then I don't know. The challenges make me they teach me something.
One of my sayings that I've been really relying on lately, it's like, although this is happening, I am okay.
Yeah.
And separating the circumstance from the life.
Yeah.
When
Like
you start, yeah, uh
when
huh,
you're inside is I don't secure. I'm not sure. There's a word. We're having trouble with our file systems today. I think.
yes,
But like there, but when you're, and I don't know. Sometimes I get like, I think this is overused, like make your inner world great and the outer world is like you can tackle anything. It's like, yeah, yes, but I do think it starts internal. And if you don't have that base, that foundation within, everything outside is so much harder then. And so if I know that I'm not making things harder than they have to be inwardly, then the external becomes easier on some level. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying
mm,
like, and part of that I think is I'm building the skill set of like, I know who I can turn to when I have problem X. But that starts with me using my discernment. Like, it's just me needing to take a second and see what I can do to solve this problem or make this better or find my happy place within the chaos of the hurricane or the, whatever's coming at me. I didn't pay that much attention. My internal world was way messy. And you know what? Here's the thing. Healing is messy. It's messy, really messy. And if you're not okay with being messy, it's harder. And then when you start sort of like understanding that the messy takes you somewhere and it leads you to wisdom and strength and experience and connection. Like that's such a big community and connection have been huge in my vocabulary lately because I think I'm just realizing how grateful I am for, the who's in my world. It changes everything. And it's just a simple, like, I just had to turn a smidgey and look a different way to find new things and not bright, shiny things that were distractions, but like bright, shiny things that were like soul aligned energy beings that were part of me on some level, And that's like, I mean, just like meeting you in person when you talked about that at the beginning of this podcast, it's like, yes, meeting you in person, not that meeting you not online wasn't great, but like dropping in together, in Nashville was amazing. And it's like, I knew it would be, but there is something sometimes about just like, yeah, if you have an opportunity to be in a room with people, especially people that
oh,
already feel aligned, it's like take that opportunity and do it because it's amazing. It changes everything.
whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
I can tell you that Nashville changed everything in my life. Quite literally, the Orange Dragonfly Center is opening because I was in Nashville.
Yay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, so
That
the
was a
Orange
great
Dragonfly,
segue. Let's just drop into that.
yeah, the Orange Dragonfly Center. Right now we do have an online community, but it will be a physical center, just outside New Orleans. Um, exactly where I can't tell you yet. I actually go. That's my first thing when I leave here. That's where I go is to look at a couple different properties,
Nice.
and it is as of now my partners and I, Spencer Jones and Michael Faber, um, are opening up the center. It's going to be a cross between. I'm calling it a glam ground. We're going to
Okay.
have some really great accommodations and places that if you have an RV, you can come with in your RV, which was really important for me because one of my biggest problems with doing these kind of things is that What am I going to do with my dogs? What am I going to do with my RV? What am I going to
Mm.
do with the things, the other stuff? And so how do I manage all that? And sometimes that costs as much as the actual event does.
Yeah. Oh,
So
for sure.
how do I take care of that? And I know that parents do the same things and they, everyone has those kind of
Yeah, we
challenges,
all have our own logistics when we do stuff, when we choose to
when we
step
do,
away from home. Yeah.
but typically if you're at home, you have that community around you that, you know, your parents might be able to take the kids for the weekend and, you're not thinking about where you're parking. You're not thinking about, someone can take you to the airport. Someone can, does the airport have parking for your vehicle?
So this is gonna be like a place where RV, if you have an RV, you can go and then what happens? So they show up on
And then
site.
there will be a rotating list of instructors in different areas.
Oh, cool.
Michelle will definitely be one of them at some point. She doesn't know
Yeah,
this yet.
we'll see what happens.
She does know this, so like we know that it will happen. It's just when and where and how it's gonna be is the whole
So
thing.
I have an open invitation is what I'm hearing there.
You Yes, yes, and they'll come in for either a week or a month. Week, 2 weeks, or a month. Um, and whatever makes them comfortable, and what they can work in. And for that week, to a month, they'll be the expert in one of the sections. So obviously, Michelle is an expert in energy work and opening up your guides and opening up things that, um, which is so important, right? Whereas I would probably be more in the structure of the three knowings of who you are, what you, what is success to you, and what is your purpose. So we would both be there. You would get instruction with both of us, and there would be a couple more. I think there's going to be around 4 or 5 because there's 5 main areas in life that we look at, and we'll have an expert in each one that's kind of always there. So you get to literally look holistically at your life and your body, really get the experience of being able to open that up. And you can stay a week, a month.
So you have it sectioned off, like you'll know, like they'll know the theme of the week, the month, the time frame, or is it more like a one-to-one book a thing, or is it more like a community thing?
It's more of a community thing.
Okay. So
So
you'll have like like time, like a schedule basically where like
yeah,
things will be happening and you can kind of look and see. I'm assuming there'll be a website, like, or maybe there already is.
yes.
Look and see, look and see like what's happening, which things you want to go
Mhm.
to. So it's almost like a build your own or show up at the time where the retreat would be perfect for you. And then you just get to drop in when like my favorite practitioner is going to be there. That's cool. I'm going to show up here. Or like, oh, there's this topic that I've never really heard of, or I keep getting called to this particular thing. That's kind of how it works for me, right? Like there's
Mhm.
this new thing that keep calling me. Oh, look, they have it at Orange. Yeah, that's cool.
We're gonna be
That's
talking
super
about it this
cool.
week. We're gonna be talking about that. Obviously there'll be themes, there'll be things, we're gonna be dealing with, I know that I want to do something for with women,
Mhm.
where I step away um for a couple weeks or a month. Um, I want to like really have something like that. I know that for Pride Month I want to do something, or um in New Orleans, the the gay celebration there is in over Labor Day weekend. So maybe
Oh, cool. They
September,
have
which
their own little.
yeah, there was and each so one of the things it's Pride Month. So one of the reasons why Pride exists, pretty much every city that has their own set of Pride, right?
Mhm.
So we think about Stonewall, right? Which is what starts. This is why Pride Month is in June and all that kind of good stuff. Stonewall was really a trading point. And what was happening is that cops would go into these establishments, into gay bars, and arrest people for being gay
Mm,
because they could.
mm.
Now, imagine this, guys. Imagine that you could get arrested today, sitting in the bar, a legal bar, because you love someone else.
Right.
And they were doing that consistently. And finally, The drag queens. Thank God for our trans and our trans and our queens and our lesbians. Like literally, they're the ones reasons why things move. Gay boys will probably take it for a lot longer. We'll eventually get pissed off, and we'll get behind you, but we're probably not initiating. And historically,
Mhm.
this is what happens. So Stonewall is the big one. There was this big, huge riots. Everybody like banded together, all that kind of good stuff in New York. In New York. Now in New Orleans, the bar was upstairs, and so they set fire to the downstairs and didn't let anybody
Oh, wow.
out. And this, and so they have a remembrance and celebration then, and it's over Labor Day weekend.
So that's a whole nother layer of why it's such an important place for you. This is a big,
Yeah,
big.
yeah. I mean, there is the energy in New Orleans is if you haven't been there, it's unrivaled. If you are attuned to energy, you walk in there, make sure you're shielded. Like
Huge, big energy.
big energy
Yeah.
everywhere. You know, there's a reason
Yeah.
why crazy. You know, but people ask all the time, well, why do we have pride? Why do we have to have pride? Well, I talked to three different kids recently that talked about killing themselves still because they're gay, because their families are this and that. And luckily, my family is very supportive, and you know, my um, have a supportive space, and but that's because I came out when I came, and I stand on the back of those people. I I luckily hit the tail end of AIDS. By the time I was there, they actually knew what it was. You know, like they had a now imagine COVID happening and everyone saying, well, you know, people are dying, but we don't really care. And denying it, saying, oh, well, it's because you're having sex or you're getting too close to people. So instead of actually, you know, looking and finding out what it really was and how it really worked, that was the AIDS epidemic in the 70s and 80s. You know, by the time I got there, there was mercurochrome at least. You know, there was at least some things that they were dealing with. And now I take a pill so I don't get it. And the people that are on the medication typically show that they are not transmittable. It doesn't show in their body. It's called undetectable. So it doesn't transmit. We can literally end AIDS. And um, my brother passed away from AIDS, so that's important to me. Um, so yeah, there's a reason pride exists. There's a reason why we need it, um, and there's a reason why things need to be visible. And yeah, it's just important, and it's when you're told consistently, consistently how evil you are and how disgusting you are and how you're going to hell and how and I know that other people deal with this too. It's not a gay thing, per se, but it is your life and your rights aren't necessarily on the news today. Your life and your I've been targeted for violence. I've been, you know, I've been through it, and I had it easy comparative to a generation before, and that's what we're doing. It's just trying to keep the next generation safer than we were.
Do you think first of all, thank you for being so vulnerable. I really appreciate you. I just was quiet and listening and that was beautiful. I mean, awful, right? But beautiful because I think sharing it is important. I think, right? Like getting comfortable, being uncomfortable or just getting comfortable being open and vulnerable so that we can learn and we can all I keep hearing is come from love instead of anything but that hate, evil, judgment, right? All those things. But that, I mean, like, if we don't talk about it, what happens? It just gets stuffed and buried, and no one gets an opportunity to show up from love or to learn something, to shift a perspective or to come from a new place. But as you were wrapping up what you were saying, is Orange Dragonfly Center going to have, if not the entire thing, big pot. Oh, I hear your dogs. Big pockets of support for your community.
Um, it is a very supportive place and it's a very open place. So that is
So yes, but not
so
necessarily specifically.
not necessarily specifically, but there will be something like there may be weeks or a month or you know what I
Yeah, I
mean,
guess that's what I was asking.
that may be the focus. Like
Yeah.
early June we might do a couple weeks of something, or again there might be a couple weeks of that. Like I do definitely want to do something with women also, so that they have a safe and supportive place, and maybe one like a couple weeks or a month that's dedicated to men, because men need that safe open space too,
Gosh, I'm
where they
literally seeing in my third eye right now just a whole community like dancing. And so, like, their arms are up in the air and they're dancing, and there's like a campfire and sound and singing. And just like, it doesn't even feel like it's organized. It's just like, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate us. Let's celebrate who you are. And here's the thing, if we all celebrated us every single day, like just ourself first, I don't know.
Mhm.
It just feels like, it feels like maybe, just maybe, that would take us somewhere where more and more things would be in celebration and love versus that hate and all the other things that go with it. I don't know. I have a hard time because, like, empathetically, like, it's like I sink into that, like, now I need to cry, and I feel the
I
pain. And it's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if more people were compassionate, at a willingness to be vulnerable and
yeah,
cry for others, it might not be such a, and for yourself for that matter.
yeah, and one of the things is that it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's somebody in our community that his messaging is doing its job. He's very Christian. He works with Christian men. Um, that is his thing, and he has been one of the most loving and compassionate and beautiful people to me.
Mm,
And every time I see him, I cringe,
mm.
because it's a fear, right? I get
Yeah.
a fear and a hatred and a whole thing because of whatever. And when you start looking at it and healing that and noticing it, okay, it's not that person.
Yeah.
And when we can start seeing people as people, not
Not through our wounds.
not through our wounds and not through what society tells us that
Yeah.
needs to be.
I really love and
You know,
appreciate that you brought that side of it too, because I think it's important, that to acknowledge that, like, yeah, we all do that. We all have our
yeah,
our pockets of judgment that come from a place of our own fears or our own wounds or our own abuse, right? Like, that's legit, and that you can't just shut that off.
right,
Which is why I say doing the work and healing those wounds. I really think that's the way out. Like, that's the answer. That's where we get to love. But if you can't love yourself because of all the wounds, if you got to love yourself out of the wounds before you can even consider all the rest of it. And maybe that's
right.
a big too blanket of a statement, but you know what I'm saying. Hopefully,
I
it's
do.
translating.
You do. You have to love yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to know what you believe. You have to, and like really look at it, not necessarily in the, oh, well, I'm a Christian. Okay, well, what does that mean to you?
Yeah.
Like, really, what does that mean to you? And because most of the people, you talk to Christians, and I'm like, do you believe in ghosts? What about reincarnation? What about, um, so what really happened? Well, we go to heaven. Well, what happened with ghosts? Well, that's this. And it's not, and again, there's nothing wrong here. This is not a mean, a wrong, or you believe what you believe. And I'm okay with what you believe as long as you believe it and you know why you believe it.
Hmm.
Not because you were told that this is the way I am the way, the truth, and the light. There's no place unto the Father but by me. I was winning preaching competitions. Like I can go there. So, but what it comes down to is that when you know why and you have that actual personal connection, not that institutional connection,
Mm.
there's a difference. There's beautiful, beautiful things in Christianity. Jesus is the best law of attraction teacher you have. Read the words in red. I believe every single one of them. And that's the problem is that we've created these rules around it. One of the reasons I went into Jediism is because there's no dogma around it.
Mm.
Like with Tantra, there's ways that you do things, and there's a set ritual, and there's things which I'm enjoying for the most part, but it's a structure and a way to be to study. Whereas Jediism is a lot more what are you bringing to it? And I can study Tantra and Jediism and not they are very related, and it's we're going to talk about that in the Orange Dragonfly Center. Actually, in our messages for the next couple of weeks, we're really going to talk about the connection between Tantra and Jediism and the energy that we talk about.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So how
it's
can
gonna
they
be fun.
find you? I want to make sure that we don't miss that beat. I want to jump in and make sure that we like, how can people find you? And I'm not saying just in a less than way. I'm saying like, I don't want to focus only on the Orange Dragonfly Center. I want to make
Yeah,
sure Jeff, JP is accessible. Where are all the different places that our listeners can find you if they want to reach out? Or I mean, because you shared a lot of different. We went all over the board today as far as like where people might drop in, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean
great.
like we had a
No,
lot of different drop-ins where people can like they might have really connected and resonated in certain places and maybe all places, right? But I'm guessing that today feels like there's going to be a couple loud like pings where they really are like this. I feel like I just even want to ask a question or just ask about because I
yeah, definitely.
you're a human who's open to sharing experiences and in support of other people who might need that support. So I want to make sure that they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, definitely. The easiest way, if you go to my Facebook is like my life. So that's probably the best. I am Jeff P. Adkins on Facebook. That's probably the fastest, easiest way to get in touch with me anywhere. But
And
if you
that's
go to True Awesome,
ADKINS, right?
yes,
AD. Okay.
ADK,
Just
yeah,
making
not
sure.
AT,
Yep.
AD.
Yep.
And or go to trueawesomelife.com. It pretty much is a hub for everything that's going on.
Oh, beautiful. So you have
Uh,
everything linked through there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hub, so you can get
Nice.
to anything. And yeah, I'm really excited though for Pride Month. I'm doing a special.
Oh,
I
sweet.
have something. I have something, and you get to be the first one to hear it.
Oh,
Actually, I haven't even announced this on my
so
page
this
yet.
will launch on Sunday. So just so you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So you guys get to hear this really, really early. Um, I'm doing a special with um, three of my most impactful workshops that I've ever done. Um, it is Drama No More 2024 workshop, where we look at what drama is and how it is rooted in your life and how to get rid of it. It's damaging so much around what's going on. So it's kind of the first place to start. I also have my time management um, workshop where people have gone 15 to 20 hours more a week when they actually start looking at their time. And then I got my money makeover challenge. And we look at money as because it's an excuse for why don't I do things? The big excuses are it's time and money.
Yeah.
So this package I'm calling the no drama, no excuses package. You guys can get it for less than one of those workshops.
And that'll be
So
on your True Awesome Life.
yep, it's got at trueawesomelife.com. Check it out. There's gonna be a special for Pride Month also, where you can actually get it more. So you might want to check my Facebook because there'll be a coupon. You can even
Nice.
get a deeper discount for Pride Month because I want the community, the world to just start really understanding that they can have what they want.
Mm.
Everything I do is in service of creating a connected world where everyone lives in authenticity and creativity, empowered to live wherever they want, with whoever they choose. You know, it, it's without fear and lack. So that's really my mission in life.
Awesome.
So
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
This was such an amazing conversation. I am so grateful that you said yes to spending time with me this morning, and I look forward to the next time. I'm sure there will be one. Any other like last words of wisdom or a heartfelt message that you want to send out before we wrap it up?
Look around for the people around you and be open to hearing what they say, even if you
That's
have to
beautiful. Say that again.
even if you have to flip them off first.
I do think listening is so important and we sometimes forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a beautiful message. Thank you.
Well,
I feel
it's
like that's a wrap for today. How do you feel?
I love it.
I really
I
appreciate
love
you all of the ways we went and especially you getting vulnerable and open and honest, which is maybe not the word I was looking for, but apparently it's a file folder. Like we got some locks in our files in our brains this morning where we can't find the exact words we're looking for, but that's all right. That is the way it goes.
Yeah, and you know what? If we had all the answers today, then it wouldn't really be authentic,
Yeah,
right?
then well, and then we wouldn't have to do we wouldn't get to, don't mean have to. We wouldn't get to do this again in the future. So, I think that's a
Exactly.
wrap for today. I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you, Michelle. Thank you for being who you are. You
Likewise.
you are amazing.
Likewise. You are too. All right, that's it. Bye. Be you every day.